Hello and welcome to the Etoft21sports Show for November 21st. How is everyone doing? My name is Eric. I'm the man behind Etoft21sports. We have absolutely loaded special holiday edition episode for you today. I'm on location at my sister's place recording this episode live. Chat room is open to answer all your betting and fantasy football questions. My boy XFLJim and I, we're going to look back at week 11, share what week 12 bets we are making. Plus, Gino will have his horse racing bet of the day from Del Mar. As always, the Etoft21sports Show is proudly sponsored by Thrive Fantasy. Go to the App Store, download the Thrive app, use promo code ETOFT21 for a 100% deposit match. That way they know old Uncle Rico sent you. If you are watching on YouTube, link to that is in the description below. Speaking of Gino, let's see what he has cooking for us tomorrow over at Del Mar.
Special Thanksgiving Day racing this week at Del Mar, so we had to head to Del Mar for a play for all of you. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in each and every week to Eric's show. Thanks for listening to me talk races, and I hope all of you have a great week with your family. Let's make some money on Thursday at the ponies and then also in the football games, I'm sure. Thursday, let's go to race number 1 right off the bat. I'm going to look at the number 6 in here, Sketchy. Sketchy is actually going to be cutting back to 5 furlongs in here. This horse is actually bred to be pretty good on the turf. The dam won twice on the turf, 3 winning turf siblings. Is also half to a grade 1 winner named Marley's Freedom, who actually never tried the turf, but overall, good turf pedigree and some class in the pedigree as well. This horse had a fine start in that debut. Looked like he was okay to be early, like forwardly placed, but they chose to take back because a couple others went for it. He was 7th inside. He got shuffled all the way back to last. He wanted to go. He had to move all the way around horses and then wait in traffic. Once he got out in the clear, he really started making up ground. I think the race was a little bit better than it might have suggested, and this barn is very good with horses making their second start. They actually just won with the horse at 87-1 on October 1st, making their second start, so you usually see a lot of improvement there. The number 6, Sketchy, 12-1 on the morning line. Anything 8-1 or over seems like fair value there. That's the number 6 in race 1 on Thursday at Del Mar. Head to drf.com for all of your past performance needs. They actually have a huge Black Friday sale going on right now that you can take advantage of when you get to drf.com. So all of the details, 20% off almost everything in the store. Check out that Black Friday sale there. Good luck this week.
Make sure to give my boy Gino a follow at It's Me, Gino B. I'm on his podcast every single week talking NFL, NBA, you name it. Now let's bring tonight's main attraction to the table. The man, the myth, the legend, XFLJim. Jim, how you doing today, my man?
What's up, everybody? I'm doing pretty good. We had a wonderful, wonderful weekend, Eric.
I hate the Lakers. Thanks for chiming in, my man. I appreciate you. Let's make some money. Already calling the shots. He says Lions first half and game. As a Lions fan, I kind of like that. Jim, I had the pleasure of being on your live stream for the Grey Cup. Obviously, those who don't know, Jim and I do a show every Wednesday night where we talk about XFL, X-League, USFL, and the CFL. What do you think of the Grey Cup, my man, real quick before we dive into the NFL?
As always, for the last 4 years, the Grey Cup has been electric. It's been a close game. It's been super exciting. Congratulations to Montreal. And I'm wearing an Arlington Renegades sweater in honor of Darnell Sankey, the man, the myth, the legend, who won both the XFL and CFL within the same year.
I mean, dude, that guy is your idol from what I'm gathering from you.
Week 8 of the CFL, when Montreal was kind of dipping a little bit, he made the promise. In an interview, he said, "We're not losing another game." Damn it, they haven't lost a game.
Now, let's shift our attention. Obviously, some big news was made in the NFL today.
Speaking of Canada,
like Antonio Brown said, Matt Canada had to go to Canada. What is your reaction to this move?
Yeah, I think everyone saw this coming a mile away. I feel like the Steeler fans I see online have been saying fire Matt Canada since what feels like week 3. So I feel like this was only a matter of time.
I mean, my 2 cents is this, and I'm probably going to get hated on for saying this. Kenny Pickett isn't any good. It doesn't matter who the offensive coordinator is.
That's also true. I think Kenny Pickett is in my humble opinion, a great XFL, potential USFL quarterback. I think that's a league he could do pretty well in. He doesn't seem to be the NFL guy. I also don't think Matt Canada was doing him any favors. So maybe a new OC helps a little bit, but I also don't think Kenny Pickett's like the guy.
Oh, I 100% agree. And Sports Facts is chiming in 100%. Pickett sucks. They need to start Mitch. Dude, they need to start my boy, The Truth. Truth don't play around, dude. Truth will get you some wins, dude.
Yeah, are you a big Trubisky guy?
I'm a big Trubisky guy.
Maybe it's just because he's been in weird spots, but the little bit I've seen in him last year and this year, he's also looked like shit.
I am sending you, I can't say it on here, but I'm sending you in the chat why I'm a Trubisky guy.
Okay. That makes sense.
So, yeah, I didn't have a problem with Mitch. I called him The Truth. I thought he was great. I thought he was great here for Chicago. I have some fond memories of Mitch Trubisky.
Well, blame the coaching staff.
I will. I will totally blame the coaching staff. Speaking of the Steelers, though, we saw Deontay Johnson get into it with Tomlin and Pickett on the sidelines. There's some issues in Steelerville, and I really think that this is kind of a move to kind of save the locker room because it's obvious Canada. We saw that clip of Boswell saying after a game, "We didn't win because of you," when he was clapping going into the locker room. So I think this is more of a desperation move by Tomlin, kind of to save face and save the locker room, because with Watson and Burrow going down, this division kind of has opened up a little bit for the Steelers.
It really has, and in my just little humble opinion, if I'm going to trust anyone to manage a locker room, I will trust Tomlin at the very least, from what he's shown, being able to handle people like Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell on the same team together. I'm going to trust him. I'm going to go for it. If this is a desperation move, I'm still okay with it.
Sports Facts, EMU, baby. Yeah, good call by the square clown better myself. So we are here to talk some NFL. As the show starts out, we're going to do some takeaways. Jim, you are the guest. What is your first takeaway from Week 11 of the NFL season?
I think, okay, maybe call me biased because I'm in the territory and a lot of fans are here. I think the Broncos could be legit. I think the Broncos could have a very real shot of making the playoffs and maybe doing some decent damage. I don't think they're a Super Bowl team, but Russ has looked better. This team looks a little sharper. Watch out for the Denver Broncos.
Jim, I 100% agree with you. Jim, I have the Broncos over 8.5. Broncos to make the playoffs. And don't look now. I have the Broncos at like 20-1 to win the West, and they're only 2 games back.
Whew.
I mean, I was heavy in Broncos futures going into the season. So I completely agree with you. Their defense, their defense is giving up less than 21 points per game after that 70-point dropping.
I think
your Dolphins.
I think the Dolphins kind of like flipped a switch in the Broncos, that they were doing something hella wrong. There you go. I'm bringing that out. And they just flipped a switch, and they just maybe there's something to what I've heard some dumb people say and be like, hey, there's only so many points in the season. The Broncos just gave up all the points they're going to give up in one game.
But I also really think I'm a big Javonte. That's a pretty funny comment. I'm a big Javonte Williams guy, and I really feel part of the reason. Now, granted, he had a bad game against the Vikings. They're starting to run him more. They're starting to use him more, and using him to set up the offense. And he's looking more explosive. He's finally back from that ACL injury. I think that is kind of the key. Russ is starting to look a little bit better. When you have Judy, Sutton. I mean, they got some playmakers. Offensive line is playing a little bit better. Defense, I mean, you have Surtain. I think you're right. I think this could be a team that could kind of make a little bit of a run and maybe even sneak into the playoffs. My first takeaway, chasing points is costing teams. I hate it when teams are in field goal range and don't take the points in the third quarter or earlier. Okay, just listen. Just hear me out.
I'm listening.
It happened with the Cardinals on Sunday. In the third quarter, it was 4th and 3. You're down 5. You're on like the 17 or the 20. You went for it. You didn't get it. And then at the end of the game, you had it 4th and 8 on the Texans 27. You could have kicked the field goal to win the game. Chasing points is costing teams. And it's just crazy how no one is talking to me. And the thing that gets me is everyone is mentioning analytics. But the fun thing is like no one knows what they mean. The way the game is played now, it's completely different than this huge sample these guys are using. In like 10 years, they're going to be laughing at these coaches for how they're pointlessly kicking, and the psychology of putting on scoreboard pressure. These statistical guys just aren't getting, and it's just costing teams. It cost Oregon against Washington. You take the points, you put some scoreboard pressure on the team, and everyone's talking about analytics. They just don't understand the numbers. I think it's just something fancy people say to say it. Just because the way the game was played in the 80s and 70s, no one was going for it in fourth down. So you can't say the probability is high you'll get it, because the sample size, the game's just completely different. So this analytics talk, in my eyes, is just completely pointless.
There's a lot of times where I'm favoring going for it. There's going to be a lot of times where I'm okay with it. There's been some rough, just like pure aggression coaches. My whole thing is, if you're going to be the aggressive guy and you're going to be like the quote unquote analytics guy and just want to go for it, then go for it a bunch. Don't be like a guy and punt it when it's dumb to punt and go for it when it's dumb to go for it, which I've seen some coaches in the NFL in particular do, and get into that sort of feeling.
I mean, I kind of feel like with Campbell from the Lions, it doesn't matter. He's always going to go for it.
See, he's aggressive and he will go for it.
He's always going to go for it. But there's been some times where it's early and he'll just take the 3 points.
I'd rather he go for it.
In the fourth quarter, I get it. But chasing points early never pays off in the long run. And it cost the Cardinals that game. The Cards easily could have won that game.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jim, takeaway number 2, what you got, my man?
Takeaway number 2 for me, Eric. I've come to the conclusion we're a little over halfway. Basically, we're like
yes.
two.
Yeah.
I am of the opinion that the Cowboys and the Dolphins are basically two sides of the same mirror, where the Dolphins are the Cowboys of the AFC and vice versa. And this is not to say that their play style is similar or anything like that. I'm not comparing like Dak and Tua or McCarthy and McDaniel. I'm not doing that. I just think they're kind of your benchmark teams for, if you can beat the Cowboys in the NFC, you're basically a Super Bowl contender. If you can beat the Dolphins in the AFC or vice versa, if you can beat both of these teams, you are a Super Bowl contender. And that's kind of the line. If you lose to the Dolphins, you're not going to be a Super Bowl contender. If you lose to the Cowboys, you're not a Super Bowl contender. That's just where I'm at right now with the season.
When was the last time the Dolphins beat a team with a winning record?
What was it, like last September?
Last year, week 3 against the Bills.
Yeah.
See, this is what I totally disagree with this. Like, for me, someone that coaches, scoreboard pressure is a real thing, because psychology, you look up and you see that. You know what I mean? Like, if you see like a 6 to 3-point game, you're gonna feel different pressure on that sidelines. So for me, I just look, if it's later in the game and the possessions, you may only have one possession left. I get it. I understand that. But like in the third quarter, second quarter, you can't just pointlessly be chasing. It just doesn't, to me, it just doesn't make sense. And it's just costing people.
You definitely can't do it all the time, because if you just try and take any emotion out of football and just play the number, like there's an emotional factor to it. And then there's also like, there's a 60% chance we get this fourth down, like this 4th and 2, when we could go for a field goal. There's like a 60% chance. But on the 40% chance you don't get it, now all of a sudden you're lining things up. Like, it's still like 60% isn't guaranteed. That's still barely over half.
I know.
When I see the analytics for football, it's all like, oh, well, if we do this, we have a 52% chance. If you're not doing that like all the damn time, like consistently, then you're not going to see it. It's the same with like playing certain things in blackjack.
Yeah, I know. I'm not at my desk, guys. Just set up.
I do like the background though. It makes you look very knowledgeable.
I know. You know, it's way better than what I have. So, Jim, second takeaway. Lay it on me, big guy.
I already did, dude. The Dolphins and the fucking Cowboys are the same Damn, they're the benchmark team.
I totally fumbled. My bad.
Eric, every league I pick a benchmark team, and this league, the NFL, it's the Cowboys and the Dolphins. If you're a contender, you can beat them. If not, you lose.
This comment completely threw me off. My second takeaway is this. Why isn't Stefanski getting any love for Coach of the Year, sitting at 28-1? Let's just let me paint this picture for you. No Nick Chubb, no Deshaun Watson, no Jack Conklin, no Jarek Wills. That's your starting quarterback, your starting running back, who's your best offensive weapon. Mm-hmm. 2 of your top 3 offensive linemen, with them being your 2 tackles. And you have the 8th worst turnover differential. That means you are one of the most unluckiest teams in the league. And this team has been playing a third string quarterback in PJ Walker or a backup in DTR, second and third string tackles. They're one of the most unluckiest teams in the NFL. And this team right now, Jim, is 7-3, 1 game behind the Ravens in the AFC North, and tied with everyone's precious Miami Dolphins and Kansas City Chiefs. This team could host a playoff game. Mm-hmm. This team could have a bye. And literally, no one's talking about Stefanski. And it just kind of shows he's thinking outside the box. And no offense, because I know you're a PJ Walker boy. Don't take this the wrong way.
XFL. When you say his name, say XFL legend.
XFL legend, PJ Brown. But I'm saying this, he's finding ways to win. And it's showing you don't need a quarterback to win right now in this league. You can build a stout defense and be competitive with this. They're winning right now with DTR, 2 backup tackles, Jerome Ford, Kareem Hunt signed off his couch. Does anyone realize how good of a job Stefanski is? And he's at 28-1 to win it all. Coach of the Year. We have to get this bet in right now, just because someone on the Browns has to be winning one of these big awards. Now, granted, Garrett, Defensive Player of the Year, you should also be betting Garrett MVPs at 200-1. I know no one has won it since 1986, but there's no quarterback having a dominant performance. That bet should be in your portfolio too. We need to seriously start looking at this team. 7-3, Jim. What other team could be 7? Could you imagine what would the Chiefs look like with no Mahomes, without their 2 starting tackles, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire running the ball?
They'd probably have a losing record.
I mean, seriously. What would the Eagles look like with Marcus Mariota, Rashad Penny, and their 2 tackles out? What would the Dolphins look like with Mike White? Well, I mean, I think the Dolphins are a little bit different just because,
it's more of a system.
Yeah. Cool Kev saying, "What up, Jim?"
Shout out, Cool Kev.
Cool Kev, appreciate you, my fan. But no, my thing is dude, we need to start looking at Stefanski. 28-1 to win Coach of the Year at a team that's sitting 7-3 and missing the pieces he's getting, and he's getting absolutely no love. This guy should be one of the favorites, dude. There is no reason why this guy shouldn't be up there for Coach of the Year.
I agree 100%, by the way. What he's doing with the Browns is nothing short of magical.
Now, friend of the show sent this in. I want you to guess the player, okay? Number 1, quarterback ranking. Number 1, QBR dog. All right. So, number 1, quarterback ranking. Number 1 in QBR. Number 1 in completion percentage. Number 1 in TD percentage. Number 1 in passing success rate. Number 1 in yards per attempt. And number 1 in yards per completion. Can you guess which NFL player this is? And because it'll blow your mind. Shout out to Clippers Stan for sending this graphic.
Number 1 QBR. Go through those again real quick.
Number 1 quarterback ranking. Number 1 QBR. Number 1 completion percentage. Number 1 TD percentage. Number 1 passing success rate. Number 1 yards per attempt. number 1 yards per completion.
See,
climbs in C.J. Stroud.
That was going to be my first guess, but my second guess was going to be Howell.
Brock Purdy.
It's Brock Purdy.
Yeah, Brock Purdy.
Boy.
That's another guy, and unfortunately, that's a guy that should be in the MVP conversation, and he's probably not going to get it. People are going to look at CMC. It's just it's disappointing this year how there's been so many people that are having good seasons, and people are just going to give it to one of those quote unquote brand names, if you will.
There's no shot like Mahomes gets it, right? No shot.
Oh my God, I could easily see him giving it. They love Mahomes, dude.
They do.
People love Mahomes. Maybe Hurts, but Hurts is like second in INTs.
Yeah.
So
my boy Tua. But there you go, MVP. That would just grind your gears.
Oh my God, if Tua was named MVP, that would completely grind my gears. Now, we have reached the part of the show where we are going to be talking betting, everyone's favorite. Let's go ahead and bring up how we did last week with our guest, Joe Madden Sports from the Sports Grid. Joe went 1-2. She hit the 49ers over 26.5 team total, lost the Jets +7 and the Browns -4. Old Uncle Rico himself, the square clown, went 2-1. Steelers +4 a win. Giants +10 a win. Titans -7 a loss. Pretty good. Hopefully we can keep the ball rolling and have another successful week. Jim, lay it on me, big dog. Where are you going?
I'm going Steelers team total over 16.5. This is just purely based off them dropping the dead weight of Matt Canada. They're going to try and open up this offense a little bit. That could cause over the 16.5 is a decent bet in my mind, but you also, if they're going to be opening up and doing some more things, you might take a look at what Kenny Pickett's interception prop is.
What about him over yards total?
I could go yardage, but I don't want to go touchdowns.
You want to hear something? I heard that he has the same amount of TD passes as Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, did you know he also has the same amount of games with multiple TD passes as Tommy DeVito?
Tommy DeVito has thrown the most TD passes out of anyone on the Jets or the Giants this season.
Hey, that's a Syracuse legend, Tommy DeVito, right there.
Tommy DeVito just shredding defenses. My first bet, and God dang it, friend of the show, Miss El Paso, is going to be proud. Give me Raider Nation plus the 10. Since 2005, home divisional dogs getting 7.5 are 56% ATS. Mahomes is a favorite laying 3.5 or more is 46% ATS. As a favorite laying 7.5 or more, 42%. Now this is the real fun one, Jim. As a favorite laying 7.5 or more on the road, a robust, Jim, 18.2% against the number. Mahomes generally doesn't cover these big numbers, and I'm going to stick with the trend here. Letdown spot for the Chiefs, playing on a short week, coming off an emotional physical game versus the Eagles on Monday night. Since Pierce has taken over, the Raiders are running the ball more with Jacobs. The last 3 games, he's averaging 84 yards per game and close to 4 yards per carry. Jacobs against the Chiefs in his career, 71.8 yards a game, 4.7 yards per carry. The Chiefs this year have struggled to stop the run. They're 21 DVOA against it. I think that the Raiders are going to lean on Jacobs a lot this game. The Chiefs' offensive line hasn't been that good this season, and Crosby should be able to get home and disrupt Mahomes. And also, let's face it, this Chiefs offense doesn't look right. They're missing beat enemy. I'll say this, and I think people are going to disagree with me. I may get some hate. I think Travis Kelce right now is focused more on being a celebrity than being a football player.
It does feel that way just like a little bit. And I feel like that wouldn't be as big of a deal if the Chiefs had maybe 1 or 2 other actual weapons at the receiver spot. They don't really they don't have another threat. A threat.
they rely on him so much, especially on third down. And like, as much as everyone wants to hate on NBS, where's the hate for Kelsey and his red zone fumble last night?
That's pretty rough.
Are people forgetting about that? In terms of the statement you made about the other threat, I don't think they use Rashid Rice enough. I don't think for whatever reason Mahomes is trusting him enough. They should be looking to go after him a little bit more. Kelsey is slowing down. You can see it now. Yeah, I mean, we talked about it in the preseason when we were doing our fantasy football stuff and we did our AFC West preview. Kelsey's going to fall off a cliff with age, and this
you see it with like every tight end once they hit that age. Yeah,
he's getting up there in the 30s. So Raiders plus the 10 is my first bet.
I also love that, Eric. I love that bet just solely based off the fact that I like taking the Raiders whenever they get an interim coach because they seem to do way better with the interim. Maybe that should just be their thing going forward, is just have a guy, get him fired mid-season, and then bring in another guy just to lead him to a playoff game.
The funny thing is, it's not funny. Pierce was actually the center of the Arizona State scandal.
That is kind of funny.
And guess who some drafts have them drafting?
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Former Sun Devil.
No.
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden fucking Daniels. That would be perfect.
If I could see Taylor Swift on her birthday.
Dude, if I had the shot to get married to Taylor Swift, screw the NFL. You're making millions and millions and millions of dollars with that. Get the bag.
Jim, second bet.
Texans money line. Don't overthink it. Give me Texans straight up all day.
Oh,
plus 110.
You know what? I got CJ at plus 500. I kind of like it. CJ's looking good, dude.
Dude, he's looking so good.
And it's kind of funny. I got a lot of pushback when I said I'd take Stroud over anyone in this draft. And, now I'm looking like a genius. The square clown I am.
I think pre-draft it was hard to, say which one of the two. I think you could make an argument either way. But definitely in hindsight, CJ has been performing way better than Bryce Young has.
Interesting question here. In Survivor, who should I take? So let me tell you a quick story.
I don't know who they have.
In Survivor, I had the Denver Broncos Sunday night, dude. There's nothing like being on a team that has 5 turnovers and a team is just kicking field goals. I mean, that was the sweat of sweats. Now I got to get through. And the thing about Circa is I need a team. So I need to roll with. Probably going to roll with the Cowboys, and I hate it. This is totally going to be the spot that the Cowboys.
Yeah, because you need someone for Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah. I hate the Lakers. Was thinking Vikings. You know what? Against the Bears on Monday night, Fields is looking better. Oh God,
Eric, I know you're a big Josh Dobbs fan. Let him run with the Vikings.
What I was thinking is I'm going to do what I am doing is I'm doing Cowboys, and I'll probably be. I feel this is the week I'm going to lose because just through the stuff I'm going to have to do.
So Cowboys. Do you have to do one on Thursday for Thanksgiving and Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So I'm doing Cowboys, and then I'm going to do the Titans.
Ooh, who are the Titans playing this? Ooh, yeah,
Panthers at home.
Don't hate it.
My next bet, and Jesus Christ, I'm going against them, dude. I'm taking the Commanders plus 11. Dak has played in 6 Thanksgiving Day games. Do you care to know what he is against the spread?
It's probably really bad.
1-5.
Yeah, I figured.
There are certain coaches we like as dogs, certain coaches we look to fade as favorites, and that's where Riverboat Ron fits in. As a dog, he's 58.4% ATS. As a road dog, he's 59.7% ATS. When getting 7.5 or more, he's 64.3% ATS. Also, teams favored by 7 or more the previous week, which the Commanders were against the Giants, and our dogs on the road the following week are 55% ATS. Just goes back to the thing we preach on the show, buying low, selling high. We're buying the Commanders when they're at a low. Divisional road dogs last 5 seasons, 56% ATS. When the line is 7.5 or higher, that number bumps up to 60% ATS. I think that the Cowboys' aggressive front, I think we're going to see Howell look to use his legs more. Running quarterbacks, have had success in the past against the Quinn defense. Running, I know that the Commanders moved on from Sweat and Young, but the Panthers' pass rush was able to get to Prescott. And that game was close in the first half, except there was just some idiotic Panthers personal fouls that extended drives. I saw the first thing I ever saw in my life. One guy in the Panthers, and I'm spacing on his name, he got a horse collar flag and a face mask flag on the same play.
That's impressive.
And I mean, that is just absolutely impressive. I just kind of feel the market is too high on this Cowboys team. I got the Commanders here plus an 11. Look, anything over 7, this is a buy for me. It's sitting at 11 right now. I say bet that at 11. Commanders plus 11, second bet, Jimbo.
Well, you mean third bet?
No, that's my second bet.
Yeah,
What's
my
your
second
third?
bet. I told you, Texans money line, baby.
No, I know. That's my second bet. What's your third bet?
My third bet is the Ravens minus 3.5. I'm rolling with the Ravens. I know. But man, I do not trust this Chargers team at all. So this is more of just a fade of the Chargers. Whatever it is, knowing the Chargers, it'll be a 3-point game at the end of the mid-4th with a chance for Baltimore to drive down the field and then win it by a touchdown or more, and they'll do it because the Chargers live to disappoint.
Chargers charge, man. Chargers charge.
Speaking of which, how is he not fired yet?
Let me paint a picture for you. You fired Staley after that game last year, and Sean Payton's there coaching the Chargers.
Yeah.
Think how much better they would be.
That's cool. They're going to get Bill Belichick, and they'll be fine.
So, but dude, the sad thing is that this team just had better leadership. This team would be freaking phenomenal.
They have all the talent in the world.
And they just struggle for whatever reason to get shit done. It's just absolutely mind-boggling how this team struggles so much.
What do you think of Herbert?
Herbert, I was really high on him coming in. But looking at him, he is one of the worst second half quarterbacks against the spread. That tells me there's no adjustments. That could be him. That could be the coaching. At first, I thought it was the coaching, but now the more and more, I think it's a little bit of him. And I asked this question to Joe last week, and I'm going to ask it to you this week. Is Justin Herbert this generation's Dan Marino?
I don't know if the Chargers have had enough success or will have enough success if they don't find the right coach. Dan Marino at least made a Super Bowl.
Yeah. But did he make a Super Bowl?
I think he did. He made a Super Bowl and lost. I'm pretty sure he made it, didn't he?
No, I think they just made the conference finals.
That could be my bad.
Dan.
Is he this generation's Phillip Rivers?
Maybe. Maybe that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
right.
They did. Yeah.
Yeah, they made the Super Bowl in 85.
Lost the Niners.
Yeah, so it looks like, oh, Jesus, Dan Marino's making more playoffs than him. So
there you go. Phillip Rivers. That's the comparison right there.
And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, he was great.
I just kind of feel that with what Herbert has, he should be better. And we kind of saw it, he's throwing the ball as hard as he can now. Just as, the ball.
Oh, he's launching.
He's and it's dude, it's what are you doing, dude? Slow down. Put a little touch on it. We finally saw him to show some emotion last game against the Packers when there was that false start when the center didn't snap it. He spiked the ball down. He showed a little emotion. And I freaking love that. But I'm just not seeing that consistently from him. It's like, what am I seeing? I feel Joe Burrow has it. I feel Patrick Mahomes has it.
They got that it.
I don't think Herbert hasn't shown me he's got that it. Hell, you know what? Jared Goff this year has shown me he has that it. Justin Herbert hasn't shown me he has that it. So I don't know. I think he could just be one of those guys, just ultra talented. Just
once he gets it, though, if he ever does get it, watch the fuck out.
So
if he does, I'm gonna say Phillip Rivers, can put up stats like the best of them, is great and won't do anything.
Now let me ask you this: if they fire Staley, are we going to bet the Chargers futures right away at the end of the offseason? I think we have to.
I think we have
Just
to.
Because if they get that quarterback, and props to you, those who don't know, Jim came on my show way back in the spring and said to take the Ravens at 20. It was either 20 or 25-1 to win the Super Bowl. So if you guys took that, you're sitting in a great position because they're looking like they could get the top seed. Herbert only has Allen.
Yeah, the Quentin Johnson's been a big disappointment, which sucks because
He can't catch the ball.
I was so high on him too. I don't fucking know what happened. He was so sure-handed. That was his biggest thing was being able to make any catch in college. I don't get it.
They lost Mike Evans though, not Mike Evans, Mike Williams.
They did, and that sucks.
That's a big blow. And Joshua Palmer's got banged up, so he is a little bit short-handed and rolling out with, relying on Quentin Johnson does take a lot. But I don't know. I just kind of feel like you said it. The Chargers should be a team that constantly is winning 10 to 12 games and pushing the Chiefs for the AFC West.
I get that their DBs aren't that good, but they still have one of the better defensive fronts in the whole country. They should. That defense is god awful.
My next one, and this is rarity. You know what? I never get to do a player prop on these. I never get to, and I think I won I don't know how many I won in a row, but I was on a little bit of a heater. Lost last night's player prop by 2 yards. Special thank you for Patrick Mahomes for not throwing to Rashid Rice one more time. I appreciate it, my friend. But we are going former Michigan State great Jalen Reed over 45 and a half receiving yards. Reed leads the Packers in receiving yards, second on targets. Reed has gone over this total in 6 of 10 games this season, 3 of the last 4. And in those last 4 games, he is averaging 5 targets, 4 receptions, and 58 yards. One of the weaknesses of the Lions defense is attacking in the middle of the field, the slot. And also, for whatever reason, Jordan Love has Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, Aaron Jones, before he got hurt, coming out of the backfield. But hey, you know what? I'm going to throw it to Jalen Reed and this works guy. So whatever, you know what I mean? So, but no, that kind of matters though. When you're a quarterback, whoever you're tight with, you're going to throw the ball.
Exactly.
To. And obviously Jalen Reed and Jordan Love have some sort of connection going on, and he's looking for him. And I really think that this is going to be a positive game script. Knowing what I know about Dan Campbell, he's going to be like, hey, you guys suck. We got lucky to win this game. We didn't step on their throats. And they're going to be forced to throw the ball. And the weakness of the Lions defense is the slot and in the middle of the field. And there's no Aaron Jones. So I really love this. I really love this player prop. This is going to be the only bet in that game. Jalen Reed over 45 and a half yards receiving. And then real quick on the Packers, how bad is A.J. Dillon messing up? Just think about this. Aaron Jones is out. He's constantly been getting hurt this season.
Yep.
Constantly. Who's in a contract year? A.J. Dillon.
Mr.
Who's
Dillon.
getting every opportunity to put up numbers, but constantly shitting the goddamn bed?
It's A.J. Dillon.
A.J. Dillon. He's literally going to be, I can't even think of a running back, but a running back that just fell off the face of the earth that had every single opportunity. Kevin Smith of the Lions, former great Kevin Smith, Buckshot Kid. What a great cup. Hello, guys. Yeah, hell of a game. It was hell of a game in the Grey Cup. The other thing I want to touch on real quick is what teams out of the NFC could you see winning it?
Obviously, the Eagles and the Niners.
Oh, this is a great one. A.J. Dillon is the next Latavius Murray. That is a great comparison.
That's a great one.
That is a great comparison. No love for the Lions. I don't think the Lions defense is there.
So, I think the Lions could potentially make the NFC Championship game. I think that's about as far as they could get. I think their offense can carry them that far. The defense is brutal right now. And if they just have one game where that offense doesn't, just go crazy in the playoffs where it would have to, then I could see them falling.
I think for them, oh, dude, Cool Kev is going all the way. Herbert, the next Carson Palmer. Cool Kev's bringing it. Bringing it. He is bringing it today. Lions all the way, dude. Cool Kev, I wish, man. I wish, but I really think for the Lions to do anything, I think they need to have the top seed because there's no way they're going to be going to Philly and winning a game on the road in that weather conditions in January. No way they're going to be going to San Francisco and winning a game. I agree with you. I think it's going to be Philly or the 49ers that are going to come out of the NFC. I don't see what the Cowboys.
Just you wait, Eric. Just you wait for Jameis Winston and the New Orleans Saints to bow down.
I will say this, Jim. I talked about it last week. If Jameis Winston goes, everyone needs to stack Chris Olave player props.
Oh, yes.
All he does is just throw it to Olave. You need to stack Chris Olave player props. Because I don't trust the Saints. Sorry, Chase, our boy Chase. I don't trust Dak. I think Geno Smith sucks. Minnesota Vikings, Josh Dobbs. And then after that, look at these are the teams fighting for the playoffs at 4-6. Packers, Rams, Falcons, Bucks. You know what I mean? This Eagles are 49ers. And this kind of just brings up a good point. If you're the Falcons GM right now, you could have traded for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
This could have been your year with how wide open the NFC East
and with how good, with how good they've looked at points where they just all seem just a quarterback away.
Or even maybe I'm a homer with this, but I think they'd have a great record if they had even Justin Fields back there. The Falcons.
He's easily better than Ritter, so yeah.
Now the AFC is a little bit AFC. Which teams could you see winning it out of the AFC?
Ravens. I could see the Ravens. I could see. It's hard to say the Bengals now, but it would have been Ravens. It's hard to count out the Browns with that defense and how strong they've looked. I would say Ravens, Browns. You can't count out the Chiefs. I'm going to throw the Broncos in there. And I'll throw the Dolphins in there. Just I think the Dolphins could make it if they go on a decent enough run.
I have the Ravens.
They're my favorite one to do it right now.
My worry with the Ravens is this. No Mark Andrews.
It does suck. That really hurts.
We saw how much their offense struggled on Thursday night when he wasn't out there. Number two, obviously the Chiefs. I don't think the Jags. Trevor Lawrence has been awful. I pulled up these numbers.
I like the Texans actually in that division. But I'm with you on Trevor Lawrence.
I pulled up these numbers. You're if I can find the graphic real quick. Mac Jones.
I knew it was going to be the Trevor Lawrence Mac Jones thing. I knew it.
Oh, you knew it? Did I already tell you this?
I think you told me this offline sometime.
This is obviously before the game that happened on the game that happened this weekend. So these numbers are going to be a little bit off, skewed. But going into last weekend, look at this. Games, Lawrence 2 more completion percentage. Jones hasn't beat. Lawrence has more yards, but he's played in 2 more games. TDs are even. Jones 3 more INTs, and their record is basically the same.
What if we just compare them on just this year?
Well, that's not part of the exercise, but dude.
Well, that's like when I see that, like I saw that stat, I was like, this is just gut feeling, but I feel like Mac Jones had a better start, and Trevor Lawrence is looking better currently than Mac Jones.
Yeah, I mean, but even if you look at his game,
I'm not saying he's great. I'm not saying Trevor Lawrence is like great by any measure or anything, but I think he's like not Mac Jones bad this year.
Buckshot Kid chimes in. Jags could. I mean, maybe Dougie's done it before, but I'm just not a Trevor Lawrence guy. Plus, they have some issues on the offensive line. Browns
Texans make some noise. Texans make some noise.
Texans defense is really good at causing pressure. I mean, Will Anderson, his motor is absolutely insane. But my issue with them is this, how can I word this? If you take out the Bengals game, you have to look at CJ Stroud's splits home and away.
It's been crazy,
so,
right?
Yeah, it's been crazy swing. So can they go on the road and win a game in January in Baltimore, in Cleveland, down in Jacksonville?
No.
I think the Browns can with their defense. And call me crazy, I think the Bills could. Just because
they could.
Hear me out. Brady was electric at LSU. If McDermott says, hey, dude, do your thing, man. Here's the keys to the castle. Do your thing. I think they could do something. But if he doesn't do that, I think the offense could struggle. And I think if he's not given freedom, I think it's going to be a little bit of a tough situation down there. But it looked like on that first game, he gave him the keys to the castle.
I'm excited for the Bills right now because it looks like, at least in the AFC East, a lot of these games later in the season are going to matter for who ends up controlling that division.
What team has the better story for the NFL this year? Not saying it's fixed, but
who?
I'm just letting everyone know if this is going to be the crazy thing. First of all, if Jared Goff leads the Lions to the Super Bowl, he's going to be in the same conversation in Detroit sports with Isaiah Thomas, Steve Eiserman, and he's going to be thought about better than Calvin Johnson and Barry Sanders. Let that sink in. And I'm going to say this.
And
I have probably not cried in 10 years.
Oh, you'll cry.
But if Eminem is rapping Lose Yourself and Jared Goff is leading them out to the field in the Super Bowl, I will shed a tear as a grown man.
That's probably the best story. Is the the Lions like, okay, this is their run redemption for Goff. Dan Campbell, you could sell that. If you're just going on pure story, it's got to be the Lions.
Yeah.
Like pure story base. What franchise besides the best for story wise? Maybe not ratings wise, but for redemption, like movie wise. If it's like Chiefs Lions, because think about it, Eric. Think about it. It's the big bad of the NFL right now. The Chiefs, the top dog. The Lions, who have been like, I don't know, to say it meanly, they've been like the laughing stock of the league for I don't know how long. But all of a sudden, they're back. They're here in the playoffs, and it's a Week 1 rematch. A Week 1 rematch.
I think.
Can I make a bet for Lions Chiefs exact Super Bowl right now and see what the odds are on that?
I'm sure a friend of the show, Dave Mason, has something going on. What if the Bills? Just hear me out. Bills right now out of the playoffs, make a run, get in as a wild card, beat Kansas City on the road. I could definitely see that. Cool Kev, Gabe gave us his kill me in fantasy. Dude, Jalen Reeder. Just get Jalen Reeder and just call it a day, man. Jalen Reeder is getting so many goddamn targets from Jordan Love. It is insane. If the Lions make the Super Bowl, they should come out to oh, my God, dude. Oh, God. I would cry. Dude, I would shed a tear, dude. Like, I would literally shed a tear. Like, I am so excited for this game on Thursday, Jim. Like, I brought Like I live in the Chicago suburbs. I'm here in Michigan now. I packed a suitcase. I didn't know what Lions shirt I wanted to wear for the Thanksgiving Day game. I had my old school Calvin Johnson jersey, my Lions versus everybody, my grit, and just a picture and a T-shirt with just a picture of Dan Campbell's face. And I don't know which one to wear. Like I literally, and it's just for a family Thanksgiving. It's like my biggest decision of the week. Jim, I'd like to thank you for coming on, talking a little NFL. And you know what, Jim? I'm going to break the news right now. I'm going to break some news right now, buddy. Jim, Chase, and myself, every Saturday, we've been doing the college football tailgate. We appreciate everyone that's been chiming in, watching our picks. Chat room's been awesome there. We're going to keep that going, but we're going to shift it over to college basketball. I think the second week in December, right after all the college football conference championship games, we're going to keep that going with college basketball. We'll have some bowl game specials, so be on the lookout for that. I'm not going to lie, probably this show and that one and Spring Fever. Best shows out there, my man. Best shows out there.
The tailgate is just such a fun morning, just vibe. Great way to start the day.
And if you guys want a good laugh, you should see my facial expressions when Jimmy starts talking about teasing.
If you want to see something real good, I'll see if I can make a clip of last week's when Chase was talking about the horse racing.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Cool, Gav. Great show. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for chiming in. Make sure to give my boy Jim a follow at XFLJim. Check out the college football tailgate. We're actually going to be live Friday and Saturday this week because of there's games both days. Also, real quick, Egg Bowl. Anything in the Egg Bowl?
Anything can happen. If there's a prop out there, Dave Mason, that there's going to be a fight, bet the yes. Bet the yes there will be a fight.
Buckshot Kid, appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in, man. You guys have a good, safe holiday. Hey, don't drink too much. And if you want to find Uncle Rico, he'll be at the craps tables at 6 a.m. on Thanksgiving Day. Get some rolls in before the old feast at the Soaring.
Make sure you celebrate Blackout Wednesday responsibly.
Jim, you have a good holiday, man. Appreciate you, and I will see you Friday morning. Make sure to tune in next week, everyone, when my boy Wade from Wade's Bets is the special guest. Let's make some money. Let's cash some tickets. Until next week, boys and girls.